Good morning, everybody. I am Anusha R of CSC department, working as assistant professor in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In my videos, I am discussing about the subject programming with objects based on Java. In the previous video, we have looked into the LAN and util package classes. In today's video, we will be dealing about files. So, what is a file? File is something wherein we store our data. So to represent file in Java, we make use of the class file. It is so this class represents it provides an abstract representation of files and other directory path names. It also deals with the file system. It describes the various properties of a file, and also it is used to obtain and manipulate the information associated with a disk file, such as permissions, time, date, directory path, etc. To create a file object, we have various constructors. We can either specify the directory path as a string, or we can specify it with a directory path and a file name, or we can display it as as a file object and with a file name. So in the first case, this is the representation wherein only the object is constructed with a directory path as the only argument. In the second case, we include two arguments, which is the path and the file name. And in the third one, we have an object which has the file path assigned and a file name. So I'm making use of the file class, because of which I have to import my file. Now, this is the path this is the path which is used to create a file. So my file, this source is a folder inside the Eclipse workspace inside the C drive. So this whole thing forms the path of my file. So this source is a directory. Okay, it is a folder inside this Eclipse workspace. So I am creating an object named F1 with the file class. So after creating an object, I can make use of various methods in the file class. So one of the method is exist. It is checking whether the file exists or not. So this source folder is present inside my Eclipse workspace, because of which this will return true. The function will return true. Now here I am applying a ternary operator. So this states that if this is true, the first result will be printed. If this is false, then the second one will be printed. So in my case, this path is an existing one, and the compiler is able to find the source folder. So f1.exist will return true. Since this value is true, it will display the exist. So the output of this line will be exist. Next, I'm calling getName method. So getName method will return the name of the current object file. So the name of the file is src. Now it is checking whether it is a directory or not. It is checking whether it is a folder or not. So since source is a folder, it will again return true. Now it is checking whether it is a file or not. This is a directory. The source is a directory. It is not a file. So it will return false. Now it will check whether we can write into the file. So these files are writable. Hence it will print F1 is writable. The output will print F1 is, this statement will come into the console, because here again I'm making use of the ternary operator. So F1.canWrite will return, it will check the permissions. If it is a writable format, if it is in a writable format, it will return true, else it will return false. Now since this is a writable file, canWrite will return true. So once it is, since it is true, this statement will be coming into the output. Now similarly, I'm checking whether we can read it. So if it is also a readable file, so again ternary this will return true. Hence, this first part will be printed. F1 is readable. Now it will next we are trying to find the absolute path. The path so absolute path is the path which we had given at the time of file creation. Absolute path represents the location of the file where in the drive. So in the hard disk where it is stored, that path is the absolute path. So it will print this whole. When we try to print the absolute path, it will print the same path which we had given at the time of object creation. Now it is checking the parent for it. So the source file is inside the Java programs folder. So its parent will be Java programs. And f1.length will display the number of bytes in this file. So if according to the files available inside this folder, that many bytes will be displayed. So it will be some number, like some integer number. Okay. So so these are the various methods which we can make use on creating a file object. Now let's look into how to read and write files in Java. So we have there are two main classes which is used for reading and writing files. They are file input stream and file output stream. And these two stream classes, they create byte streams. They are mainly creating the byte streams linked to file. So these are the two constructors which we make use to create an object of these classes. So we specify the string file name as a string, and this file input stream will throw file not found exception if the file which we have specified here does not exist. Similarly, the file output stream also throws a file not found exception if the specified file does not exist. And this file not found exception is a subclass of input output IO exception. Next is file input stream. So this file input stream is used to create an input stream that can be used to read the bytes from the file. So if we want to read any data from the file, we can make use of file input stream. There are two constructors which we make use here. In the first one, we specify the file path as a string, and in the second case, we can specify the path as an object itself. So these two will throw file not found exceptions, and they also implement the interfaces closable and auto closable, which is used to close the object after use. So if we had used some files during our process, we have to close this object, only then it will release that file from the being holded. So this is how we can specify. This is how you make use of the first constructor. So we specify the file name here as a string. We are specifying the file name as a string, and in the second case, these two are making use of the second case. So second constructor. So first we have to create an object of file class. We are creating an object of a file class by specifying the path, and that object is passed to the file input stream class. So this is the second way of creating an object of file input stream class. Similarly, we have file output stream, which creates an output stream wherein we can write the bytes into a file. So they also implements the auto closable and closable and flushable interfaces. So these are the various constructors which we make use to create by which we can create a file, an object of file output stream. So in the first case, as same previous case, we are passing a string for creating a file, and in the second case, we are passing an object of file class. In the third case, we are specifying the string, the file path as a string, and we are we are creating it in appending mode. So append mode, and if it is in the fourth case, we are specifying the path as an object, and it is some file will be opened in the append mode. So if we specify this append mode as true, then the file can be opened in append mode. If it is false, then it cannot be. So we can create a so when we make use of this file output stream, so it will create a file wherein you have to write the data. So even if that file does not exist, this output stream will create a file at the time of execution and write the data into it. Now so the mainly used methods to read data from the file is the read method. So using read method, we can read data from the file. So this method will throw an IO exceptions, input output exception. So this read method, they will always read as bytes from the file, and this byte will be returned as an integer value. And if the end of the file is represented by the integer -1. So when the file reaches the end of file, it will return -1. So once we have completed reading the file, we have to close the file. So to close the file, we make use of the method close. So this when we call this close method, then it will release all the resources allocated to that file. Now let's look into an example. So in here we are reading a data from a file and displaying the number of word counts in it, the word count of that file. So since we are making use of file input stream class, file reader class, IO exception class, and IO input stream reader class, we have to import them from the Java IO package. Now, so first we are giving the path, and using this path, an input stream is created, and an file input stream object is being created using this path. So let's say we have these are the contents of my file. These are the contents of my file. So after I have stored these data into it. Now, so I have created an input stream. Now using this input stream, I have to read the data from that file. So I call read method, and whatever data is being retrieved from that file is stored into C. So whenever that C is reading any element, that element will be converted into its ASCII format and stored it into C. So it will check whether it will read until the value reaches -1. So when the value reaches -1, it indicates that the file is if the value is -1, then this read method, it will read the values from the file, and until it finds -1. -1 indicates it is the end of the file. So until the end of file is encountered, it will read the data and it is printing onto the console. So our file contains these data. This is my file. I have a file which contains ABC, data PQ, and 1, 2, 3. So I'm reading those characters. So on every read, I'm using a variable as a counter variable to count the number of characters present. So for every reading of the character, it will increase the count. So initially this count variable was set to 0 and was set to 0. So my file contained ABC, data PQ, and 1, 2, 3. So read method will first read A. So count will be 1. Then when it read B, it will be 2. Then it read 3, it will be 3. Now at this point, I had pressed enter. So it will count. Enter will be that means enter means it is carriage return. So carriage return counts twice. So the count will become 5 here. Now this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Again 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So at this point I didn't have anything. So C count will be 16. So that is why we have count as 16. Next, next I have to check for the words. So here in this case I'm having 3 words. This is one word, this is second word, and this is my third word. So I have initialized the word count. This should be 0. These both should be 0. So the word, I'm checking for the word count. The word count is set to, was initially 0. So when what I do, how will I count a word? If there is a white space between any 2 letters, any 2 characters, then that up to that it forms one word. So in my case, so this was my file. So here when I press enter, it is a white space. This is also a white space. So since these are three words, the count of the word count will be 3. So what happens if it is checking whether the character is a space? The ASCII value of space is 32. The ASCII value of carriage return is 13, and the ASCII value of horizontal tab is 9. So if any of these is encountered, then we will increment the word. So at this point, I have initially my word count was 0. Initially my word count was 0. So at this once it read all up to C, it finds a white space. So it will increment the word count to 1. Similarly, it came after it reads this second line. At this point, it again encounters a white space. So the word count will become 2. Now at this at this point again it will find a word count. So it will increment to 3. So the words count is 3. Similarly for the lines also. So when it finds the values to finds the values to carriage return value, it has to increment the count. So for each of these cases, it has to determine the count. L count will be 3, and we are displaying those values. So we get the line count also as 3. Next, now here we are opening, we are writing an example to write into a file. So I'm already having my file ABC data PQ and 1, 2, 3. So this file is my text.txt. It is my text.txt file. Now from this, I have to copy this whole data into text1.txt. So here, yeah. So we have created a file use an object of input stream, and we have an so using this input stream, we'll read data from this file, and to write this data into this file, we are making use of the output stream. So now we have to read these data and write it into this. So first we are reading the data. So whatever character is read, that has to be written into the file pointed out by fout. So here we have a file fin read. So all these data will be read, and that will be written into this file, which is pointed by the fout, into the text1 file. So until we do this process until we encounter the end of file. So once this whole data is being stored into this, we get it will print the statement wrote into file. After the whole file has been completed, we print the file which has been file writing is completed. After that, we have to close the file. So since it is these read method will throw exceptions, we have to handle it. So we have to handle them. So if in case it throws the exception, then it will be handled at this point. And now we have to close the file. So that is, so after opening that file, that has to be definitely closed. That is why we are putting it inside the finally block. So if the file in the input file object is not null, then we have to close it. If it is not null, means it is holding some file object, so we have to close that. And similarly, if the file out also is not null, means it is also storing some value, holding some value. So we have to close that also. We have to close that file also. So this is about writing and reading from a file. Next, let's look into the various streams in Java. So streams means it is something in Java. Every input device and output device can be considered as a stream. So we retrieve data from an input, and we write data into an output. So these sources of these input source or the output source may be any any memory buffer, or it may be an internet network connection, or it can be any files. So all these things, all these devices are handled by the streams in Java. So a stream is considered as an abstraction that either produces or consumes information. Now, a stream is linked to a physical device by the Java I/O system. It is a channel or a path along which the data flows between source and destination. The I/O package supports Java's basic I/O input-output system, including the file I/Os. The support for I/O comes from the Java's core API libraries. These I/O classes can be applied to same set of I/O classes and methods can be applied to different types of devices. The input stream is generally are of disk file or a keyboard or a network socket, and the output stream can be considered as the console or disk file or any network connection. Now there are some fields which is defined inside the system class. We have already made use of system out and system in our programs. So all these streams are streams fields are described inside the system class, which is inside the Java lang package. So if it is the since it is Java it's present inside the Java lang package, the system we have to import it. Okay, so the system.out indicates it refers to the standard output stream, which is of type print stream, and the input refers to the standard input, which can be a keyboard, and it is of type input stream. And similarly, the error stream represented by system error is also the console. The output is the console, and its type is also of print stream. Now these variables are always public, static, and final. Now there are two types of byte streams. There are two types of streams in in Java. They are the byte streams and the character streams. The byte streams, it handles the input and output of bytes, and that means writing and reading of binary data, whereas character streams provides methods for handling the input and output of characters. They basically use Unicode, and they hence can be internationalized. So this Java's stream class consists of main four abstract classes, which is input stream and output stream. These are defined for byte streams, and reader and writer classes, which is defined for character stream. And all these streams are available inside the java.io package. Now let's look into the byte stream classes. The byte streams are defined by two class hierarchies, which is the input and output stream. So these abstract classes contain several concrete classes which can handle the differences among various devices. So inside these there are two methods, read and write, which is used mainly to read and write bytes of data. Now these are the various classes inside the byte stream class. Byte stream, the buffered input stream, it make use of input stream which and buffering input stream and buffering of it. So the data read from the input stream can be buffered. Similarly, the buffered output stream. So they both make use of buffering methods to speed up the process. Next is the byte input array stream, byte array input stream, which is an input stream that reads reads data from a byte array. The byte array output stream is an output stream that writes data into a byte array. The data input stream is a standard input stream that contains method for reading the Java standard data types. The data output stream, it contains methods for writing the Java standard types. The file input stream is an input stream that reads from a file, and the file output stream is an output stream that writes to a file. The filter input stream, it implements an input stream. So filter input stream and filter output stream, it implements, it also process the filtering of the data, and they both implements the filter input stream implements the input stream, and the filter output stream implements the output stream. The input stream is an abstract class that describes the stream input. The object input stream is an abstract class that describes stream output. The output stream is an abstract class that describes stream output. The piped input stream and piped output stream, they both work together. Like they are classes which can be used to read and write data simultaneously, and they both are connected to each other using the connect method. So then the print stream is an output stream that contains the print and println methods, and the pushback input stream is the input stream that supports one byte unget, which returns a byte to the input stream. And the sequence input stream, it is a combination of two or more input streams that will be read sequentially one after the other. So these are the various byte stream classes in Java. Next is the character stream classes. So the character stream classes in Java are defined under the reader and writer class, and these classes handle mainly the Unicode character streams. In these also there are two methods, read and write, which will read and write the characters of data. Now these are the various character stream classes: the buffered reader, buffered writer, character array reader, which is an input stream that reads data from the character array. The character array writer, it is the output stream that writes to a character array. The file reader and file writer are input and output stream for reading and writing file. The filter reader and filter writer are reading the input streams, which also uses filtering of data. The input stream reader, it translates the byte to characters. The input stream reader translates the input stream bytes to characters, and the line number reader, it is an input streams that counts the line. The output stream writer translates characters to bytes. The pipe reader and writer is same as that of the previous class, which has a pipe and they both work together using the connect method. They are connected together. Then print writer, it is the output stream that contains the print and println method. And the pushback reader is the input stream that allows characters to be returned to the input stream. The reader class is the abstract class that describes the character input stream. The string reader is the input stream that reads from a string. The string writer is an output stream that writes to a string, and the writer class is an abstract class that describes character stream output. So these are the various character stream classes. Next is random access file. So this random access file, it allows a non-sequential access to any location of a file. So we can randomly access any location in that file. So it behaves like a large array of bytes, and we have the cursor we have a cursor implied to the array called as the file pointer. So by moving this cursor, we can perform the read and write operations. So if the end of file is reached, then it will before the desired number of bytes has been read, then it throws an end of file exception. This random access file class implements the interfaces, data input and data output, which defines the basic IO methods. It also implements the auto-closable and closable interfaces. The closable indicates that the data has to be, the close method inside this closable and auto-closable indicates that the object has to be closed after use, so that it can release whatever resource it has been held. So we have next as I told you, this allows the random access of data in the file. So that is achieved using a method called as seek. So using this method, we can position our file to any particular location, and from there we can read any specified number of data. So these are the two constructors which can be used to create the random access file object, wherein we are specifying the file object and the access, and we are specifying the access, how to access. So these access can be either in read mode or in read write mode, or it can be in read write operation, wherein every change to the file's data or metadata will be returned into the physical device if it is in read write S mode, and if it is in read write D mode, then it won't be. So if it is in read write D mode, then it will the file's data, only the file's data will be returned. Here the file's data and other metadata related to the file also will be returned. And the seek method is make use to set the current position of the file pointer within the file. So this specifies the new position in bytes of the file pointer from the beginning of the file. So in my today's video, I have discussed about files and how to read and write files and random access files. So to prepare all these slides, I had made use of the textbook complete reference, and I have also used the Java tutorial class given by Java tutorial website by the Oracle, and website by IIT Kharagpur Professor D.S. Samantha, and the Java T-Point website. So that is all for today. Thank you for watching my video. We will continue in our next session. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.